Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to part 8 of the remodel build or remodel of the whole fish room for this year. And today I'm going to give you guys what I've narrowed down for the large reef tank that's going to go behind here. So this rack here is eventually going to be torn down, and we're going to get one big tank that takes up this whole side here. I've kind of narrowed it down to 2 tanks that I'm interested in looking at. So I'm going to share with you guys what those 2 tanks are right now. First off, the first 2 brand that I'm looking at is Red Sea, and the other one is WaterBox. So let's go ahead and start with Red Sea and which one I'm interested in getting. So for Red Sea, the one I'm actually looking at is the Refer Triple XL 900, and this is their largest tank. I'm going to scroll down here. So it looks something like this here. They have a video here. So we're going to go kind of down here to the specs to see the details and kind of the setup of the tank. So I've seen both tanks in person before, not the ginormic one, but you know, a version of their tank, and both are gorgeous. By all means, very nice looking, very sleek, and all in one where everything's complete, everything's set up for you. It's literally just, they drop it, you plug and play, and you set up. So let's start with the Red Sea tank here. So it has an overflow box with 2 outlets up here in the middle. Very nice. So the one thing that I'm running with a lot of my tanks right now is a hang on the back overflow box. Now it's worked for me, you know, for the last several years that I've been in the reef hobby, plus the freshwater side. Nothing wrong with that, but having the overflow box inside, covered in black, is very sleek, very nice. I'm going to give it that for sure. So this setup, obviously they have a sump. The chamber next to it, you can either have it plumbed together to either keep frags, keep something there, or you can kind of just close off the pipes here and keep it as a reservoir tank to auto top off. So if your tank, when your tank evaporates, it'll just auto top off. So you can kind of use either or for that. And I think there's a empty section over here where you can either keep another small tank if you want to use all of this as one big sump, as another reservoir tank, and pump in the water that way. So it's very nice. All right, so let's go down to the specs here. The specs for the 900. So the total display volume up top is 192 gallons. So approximately 200 gallons, very large. Total volume with the sump and everything is 240 gallons. So very, very big and very nice. Length of the tank. So the length of the tank is a little over, it's about 6.5 foot here. So 6.5 foot tank. Height is about 2 foot, a little bit longer than, a little bit higher than 2 foot, and the width is also a little bit bigger than 2 foot. So pretty massive in terms of width and height. My biggest tank right now, the height is about 20 inches, so maybe another 6 inches on top of that. And those are the 50 gallon or the 54 gallons, the ones inside and outside. And the width on those guys are 18, and this is 26 almost. So definitely that's a lot wider for the tank. The sump here, okay, I know that the sump probably can handle a lot. So here's the other interesting part, is the return pump that is size 4, and it is 2,640 gallons per hour. So I actually have an extra L1 pump outside, and it does, I think, 3,000, a little over 3,000 gallons per hour. And so definitely this thing can handle it. I just have to dial the pump down a little bit. And here it is, the full display. It looks very beautiful. You can have a chamber for a refugium here, and then you have skimmer, bunch of filter socks. So it's a very nice setup tank. So that is the Red Sea Reefer side. Let's go ahead and take a look at the WaterBox. Oh, I forgot to show you. And of course, the other important thing is the price of the tank. The tank right now has gone up in price for the last couple months, maybe a couple $100 here and there. I think the last time I checked, it was about $5,000-ish, maybe a little bit more for this tank here. So it's a pretty hefty price for sure. But with what you're getting here, I would say that it's almost there, because if you buy the tank alone, the tank itself, you can probably get for maybe like $2,500, $2,600. The other important thing is like the stand. The stand itself, if you get it, custom build, like a different frame or whatever, it's going to run, $2,000 unless you build it yourself. A lot cheaper, of course, but if you want to make it look nice, And if you're not really handy in building stands, it's definitely going to cost you around $2,000. The sump and all those piping and stuff like that, you know, it's going to run probably another $500 to $1,000 to get all that too. So approximately, it's about equivalent if you were to buy the tank and the stand and all this part separately. So it's fairly accurately priced for the tank. All right, so let's move on to the WaterBox tank. So this is the WaterBox Reef XL, the 320 gallon tank, the 0.7 here as well. They like to do the decimals. So right off the bat, it is almost $2,000 more for this tank, and that's just the tank and stand. But it is a little bit bigger, of course. So let's go ahead and take a look at the design and see what's the difference between this tank setup versus the other one. So this is the world's largest rimless tank in production. This is correct in terms of an all-in-one build. I believe the Red Sea Reefer was top for a while until recently. This one literally just came out a couple months ago in terms of announcement. I don't even think they have yet. You have to do a deposit because they're kind of backed order. They don't even have it in stock. So this is the crazy part. When I was looking last year for tanks, this model wasn't available at all. So I was looking at WaterBox, but their other models was slightly smaller in footprint, and I wasn't really happy with that. So I'm really glad that they came out with this because now we have a competitor to Red Sea. And this tank here, as you can see, we have the sump. Their piping is just straight in the middle, straight down. So less piping there, it's just straight down, which is pretty cool. So they have a separate tank for the auto top off. So this is going to be your auto top off area where it fills up the sump. So that's pretty cool. So going down here, it looks very nice. So this tank is 30 inches, which is crazy. So let's go ahead and go down. So it's definitely a little bit wider for sure. So let's go down here and take a look at the tank itself and see what the difference is. A lot of ventilation in the back. I think the Red Sea Reefer also has a panel in the back. Yep, this panel here and this here is wide open. So there's circulation. This has plenty of circulation. So here's the one difference that I am liking a lot with the WaterBox is the frame. So the frame is built out of an aluminum frame. I actually have an aluminum frame for my 25-gallon cube, and I love it. I love it a lot. It's durable, sturdy, and it's just really lightweight to pick up and stuff like that. So this build here is an aluminum frame, and you have these panels that basically clip on afterwards. So that's actually really cool, really convenient, because what you can do is you can take this stuff apart and, you know, leave it open like this, which is pretty cool. I may consider doing something like this if it was an option. Maybe we'll see what happens. I think, you know, having it like covered like this is pretty cool too. But having these panels be able to pull out and in is very cool. They have adjusters on the bottom. I think Red Sea Reefer, yep, Red Sea Reefer also has leveling adjusters on the bottom here. So that is one of the biggest difference, other than obviously it's a bigger tank, is the aluminum frame here for the WaterBox. So let's go ahead and take a look at the detailed specs of the tank. So scrolling down here, this is the Reef here. Reef LX. So here it is on this side here. So let's go and look at how big. Okay, here's the display tank. The display tank is, this is 7.5 foot, so an extra foot longer than the Red Sea tank. The wide, it is about 30, 30 inches wide. So that means it's 4 inches wider than the Red Sea Reefer, and it's shorter in terms of height versus the Red Sea Reefer by only 2 inches. And having it shorter is actually probably easier for, you know, people to reach into the tank. So I think this height here, having it under 2 foot, is actually pretty good. I like that. All right, so let's see if there's anything else that's interesting here. The plumbing, it doesn't show or doesn't tell us how many, the return pump. I'm trying to look at the return pump to see how much it's able to take. Okay, it doesn't say here at all. So I'm assuming that it's going to be more than this here on the Red Sea Reefer side, just because it's a bigger tank. But yeah, these are the two tanks that I'm actually interested in looking. Right now, I will give you my honest opinion. I'm gravitating more towards the WaterBox just because of the aluminum frame, and also it's a foot longer. The length is important for me because I would like to have uh, more room in terms of length for the fish to swim across, and the width is also bigger for them to kind of like swim around. The height I don't really care as much, so losing the 2 inches there is fine. It's not that big of a deal. To be honest, I would like it a little bit shorter so that I can actually reach into the tank anyways. Um, so yeah, I'm really gravitating towards this. I've seen, like I said, both tanks in person. Both of them are really nice, but the one thing that has sold me so far is this aluminum frame. This aluminum frame on this is a game changer. I think that, this is probably the way and the best way to go for large tanks is an aluminum frame. It's just easier to move, lighter, and it's just easier to take apart, because if you need to take it apart, you can take it apart. And the cool thing is, with moving these panels out, you can slide, things in and out really easily, without having to worry about like things getting in the way. For example, like the Red Sea Reefer. Let's go take a look here. There is like these struts here that are in the way. I believe you can remove them. But like like if you want to slide in something, like you can't like take these panels off. Obviously they're holding the tank up. The other one you can, because it's just sitting on the frame and you can slide it in. Very convenient, especially if you want to change stuff down the road, or if you need to change some pipes, do something. But yeah, I'm really digging this right now. Let me know what you guys think. I would like to get some feedback, some opinions on both tanks. If you guys own one of these tanks, either the Red Sea or the WaterBox, let me know your opinions in the comments below. Why you like it, which ones, which model you own, and if you guys know of anything other than these two. I'm looking for a kind of like an all-in-one, about a 7-foot tank is what I'm looking at. All-in-one 7-foot tank-ish. So if there's any other brands that you guys know of that I have not mentioned here out of these two that I may want to consider, leave in the comments below. I would be interested in looking at those as well. But like I said, I've been doing a lot of research all of last year. I think I've narrowed it down to these two. All of last year I was really almost like 99% sure I was going to get a Red Sea, but when they released this model, I'm now leaning towards this model. The price is $2,000 more, which is kind of ridiculous. But that $2,000 more is you're getting more tank size and you're getting an aluminum frame. So the aluminum frame should be, shouldn't justify the $2,000 difference there. But it looks like, this looks like a high quality tank for sure. So I'm almost sold on getting this here. So let me know what you guys think. Leave in the comments below. And like always, till next time, guys. Peace.